we're going to go ahead and get started with the subcommittee. When we have a quorum, we will pause and take roll. Senator Berger, I think that we'll go ahead and go with you first with Senate Bill 1083. Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, members of the committee. Mr. Chair, for the record, I am Senator Jamie Berger, representing District 27, which consists of Scott, Cape, Perry, Bollinger, Madison, Iron, and Reynolds counties. Today, I'm bringing forward Senate Bill 1083 relating to requirements for applicants for a respiratory care license. There are two pieces to this bill. The first piece would require an active registered respiratory therapist, RRT, credential to practice as a respiratory therapist in the state of Missouri. Currently, someone can practice with either a CRT, Certified Respiratory Therapist, or an RRT credential. The educational programs to become a respiratory therapist are the same for individuals with both an RRT and a CRT credential. The only difference between an individual receiving a CRT and an RRT credential is the testing. If an individual earns a low cut score on the first credentialing exam, they are only eligible for a CRT credential. You can become a CRT with a cut score of 60% on the first exam, which is multiple choice. The second exam is where individuals are tested on simulation of clinical experiences. So you can practice in Missouri without having passed any simulated exam. As a profession, respiratory therapists want to hold themselves to the highest standard of care by requiring the RRT. We have included a robust grandfather clause to allow any current licensee with a CRT credential to continue working in Missouri under their current credentials. We do not want to prohibit anyone who is currently practicing a respiratory therapist from continuing to practice. The second part of this legislation before you simply states that a license renewal is subject to a random audit confirming the individual maintains an active credential. This portion is to ensure that when individuals are renewing their license, they haven't let their credentials go inactive and are practicing with an active credential. Currently, there isn't a check on license renewals to confirm that an individual has kept up with their credentials. SB 1083 seeks to ensure we have the highest quality respiratory therapists caring for all of Missourians. I'm happy to take any questions, and there are also respiratory therapists who will testify and can provide additional answers to any questions that you may have. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. We're going to pause for a minute and take roll since I believe we have a quorum. Ashley, will you take the roll, please?
Yep. Chairman Brown.
Here.
Senator Berger.
Here.
Senator Brown. Here. Senator Huff. Senator Lewis. Here. Senator McCreery. Senator Shore. Here. We have a quorum.
All right, we have a quorum. Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Berger from the committee? Senator Brown.
So you mentioned two tests, the CRT, was that correct? And then RRT, so this would require both. Do you know, are there any statistics that show better health outcomes in states that require both versus ones that don't?
I know 9 states require that RRT licensing. Somebody behind me will be able to answer those questions.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Senator Berger from the committee? All right. Hearing none, are there any witnesses to testify in favor of the bill? Whenever you're ready, please come forward.
Hello, my name is Brandon Burke. I am a respiratory therapist and a member of the Missouri Society for Respiratory Care. I've been a respiratory therapist for about 17 years, practiced in the field, and now I'm a full-time educator as well as being a chairperson for the Missouri Society. And there's a lot of reasons why we want to pass this bill. One is we are the state affiliate of our national organization, the American Association for Respiratory Care, the AARC. And our profession is moving toward having advanced credentials and advanced education. And one of the thoughts is the position papers is that they would like for every state to have the RRT credential be the minimum qualification by the year 2030, of which, as the senator said, there are already 9 states across the country that have done this. Our credentialing body, the National Board for Respiratory Care, sorry for all the acronyms, but they actually are moving to a new credentialing exam on January 1st of 27, which is when we've proposed that this bill, if passed, would take effect. And that exam would have, instead of having multiple exams, there would be one exam, of which right now they're proposing 2 cut scores. But I've been told that this is in preparation to, as the states move forward, more states move forward with going to the RRT credential being the minimum, that they would just eliminate the CRT credential altogether. This is sort of a long-term plan for the next several years. And we have it on good authority that the CEO of the NBRC has stated that once the majority of states has moved to the RRT credential being the minimum, that they will officially eliminate that credential. Now, they said that they would need the majority of states, which Missouri, we've polled our therapists, of which we have many members, and this polls at 90% in favor. And we have over 4,000 licensed practitioners in the state, so this is a good move. And then the secondary piece of this is right now, the only time that you need to prove that you have a credential to get a license is when on your initial application. After that, you don't even have to prove that you have an active credential, and you can continue to get licensed, which originally, once you had an original credential, you didn't need, you had that, you were grandfathered in for life to have that credential. They have since changed that to where you have to maintain that credential. They changed it in 2001. So potentially it's unsafe. We might have people practicing in the state that, in fact, do not have an active credential. So that would be the second piece of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the witness? All right. Hearing none, thank you for your testimony. Before we go to the next witness in favor of, I'm going to pause for a second to go into executive session because we have some other committee members that need to go to other committees. So I move into executive session. Do I have a second? I have a second. We are now in executive session. I move that Senate Bill 993 be brought before the committee. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This was Senator Henderson's bill we heard last week. He presented Senate Bill 993. It's relating to hemp beverage regulations. Senator Henderson spoke to the substitute that has been distributed to the committee. So I now move the adoption for the committee substitute. I have a second. I have a second. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none.
Oh, you got a question down there.
Oh, sorry. Senator Lewis.
Thank you. I was able to review the sub. I didn't have it before the hearing, and it's much better than the previous, the original bill. And I definitely support regulations. However, I think there's a lot more that needs to be worked out. So just wanted to just briefly share that I think we're getting there, but not quite there.
All right. Thank you. Are there any other discussion regarding the substitute? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of adopting committee substitute say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have. The substitute is adopted. I now move that Senate Bill 993, as amended by the committee substitute, be voted out. Do pass. Do I have a second? I have a second. Is there any discussion on that? Thank you. Very good. Ashley, call the roll to vote Senate Bill 993 out of committee. Do pass.
Chairman Brown.
Aye.
Senator Berger. Aye. Senator Brown. Aye. Senator Huff.
Aye.
Senator Lewis. Senator McCreery. Senator Shore.
Aye.
5.
By your vote of 5-1, the bill passes. I now move that Senate Bill 1092 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. Senate Bill 1092 was presented by Senator Lewis last week. This bill is relating to social work supervisors. She has asked for this bill to be voted out consent. There will be 2 votes to, what?
To vote it out consent.
Yeah, to vote it out consent. Senator, do you have any additional comments to add on that? Okay. I now move that Senate Bill 1092 be voted out of committee. Do pass. To have a second. Second. I have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Ashley, call the roll to vote Senate Bill 1092 out of committee. Do pass.
Chairman Brown.
Aye.
Senator Berger.
Aye.
Senator Brown.
Aye.
Senator Huff.
Aye.
Senator Lewis. Aye. Senator McCreery.
Senator Shore. 6-0.
By your vote of 6-0, the motion carries. I now move that Senate Bill 1092 be voted out of committee consent. Do I have a second? I have a second. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none. Ask to call the roll to vote Senate Bill 1092 out of committee consent.
Chairman Brown.
Aye.
Senator Berger. Senator Brown. Senator Huff. Senator Lewis. Senator McCreery. Senator Shore. 6-0.
By your vote of 6-0, the motion carries. I now move that Senate Bill 1233 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. I move that Senate Bill 1233 be voted out of committee. Do pass. Do I have a second? I have a second. This is Senator Trent's. He presented this bill, modifies requirements for licensing of accountants. An applicant for examination shall provide proof that the applicant has attained a baccalaureate degree of a post-baccalaureate degree instead of proof of completion of at least 120 semester hours of college education. Is there any discussion on that? Good. Ashley, call the roll to vote Senate Bill 1233 out of committee. Do pass.
Chairman Brown.
Aye.
Senator Berger. Senator Brown. Senator Huff. Senator Lewis. Senator McCreery. Senator Shore. 6-0.
By your vote of 6-0, the motion carries. I now make a motion to move out of executive session, resume regular hearing. We're back in regular hearing. Are there any other witnesses testify in favor of this bill? Whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Kristen Anderson. I am also a respiratory therapist and have been since 2004. I also have the great honor of representing the Missouri RTs as the president of the Missouri Society for Respiratory Care. As Brandon had mentioned, this is something that had been discussed in the past with our society and pulled with our Missouri RTs, who are strongly in favor of moving towards just an RRT minimum for Missouri licensure. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Can I answer yours?
The blessing of the chair, I'll ask the same question. Are there any statistics that show health outcomes in states that have this versus the ones that don't?
We do not have any statistics or data that show that there are better outcomes with states that have RRT only for licensure.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for this witness? All right, hearing none. Next witness testify in favor of whenever you're ready. Thank you for your testimony. Are there any witnesses to testify in opposition to? Are you in favor of? Yep. Oh. All right. Yeah.
She's their gatekeeper.
What?
She's their gatekeeper.
Are there any witnesses to testify for informational purposes only? All right, Senator, do you have any closing comments?
No, I do not. Thank you for allowing me to
All right,
present.
thank you.
Do you want to do yours?
Yeah, we can. Is Tracy going to do her?
Yeah, she's just right there. I'll grab her if you wanted her to go.
Senator, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Justin Brown representing the senatorial 16th District. Today I'm here to present Senate Bill 1022. Senate Bill 1022 serves as an important update to Missouri's self-storage laws, many of which have not been significantly revised since the 1980s. The primary goal of this legislation is to align Missouri's statutes with modern business practices and the legal standards of other states. Senate Bill 1022 allows a rental agreement to be delivered and executed electronically if the occupant does not sign a written rental agreement and continues to use the lease space for 30 days, as shall constitute an acceptance of the rental agreement with the same effect as if it had been signed by the occupant. This bill also ensures an occupant may not use a self-service storage facility after the operator has delivered a written notice of termination of non-renewal of the rental agreement. The notice shall provide that the occupant with no less than 14 days after delivery of the notice remove all personal property from the self-storage facility. The operator may dispose of any personal property remaining in the storage facility after the date indicated in the written notice. Finally, Senate Bill 1022 repeals the provision relating to the advertisement of the sale of personal property if the occupant is in default. I know there are many experts here to testify on behalf of this bill, but I will try to answer your questions if you have any.
Any questions
to the
from
best
the
of my
committee
knowledge.
for the bill sponsor? The other Senator Brown,
The better one.
the real Senator Brown.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I guess I don't have a lot of background in this area. What's the is there a current process as far as notice that needs to be given in statute as of now?
I'm going to leave that to our expert witnesses
Okay.
because, yes, there is, but they could go in better detail on that.
Okay.
Any other
Not
questions
in
from,
writing.
from the bill sponsor from the committee? Hearing none, let's have our first witness in support of Senate Bill 1022.
Hello, committee. My name is Alex Erbs. I am the president of the Missouri Self-Storage Owners Association. I am also an owner myself of 2 locations in Columbia, Missouri, and in Waynesville and Phelps County. I am based out of the St. Louis County area and have been in storage for approximately the last 12 years. Why I'm here today?
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay. Again, I've been in storage for 12 years. I'm just so excited to be here. I'm talking fast. That's why. I know you are. And it's more exciting to talk about storage law. I know. Well, again, and so we're talking storage law today, and as the senator noted, the current statute has not been updated in almost decades as such. So he already went over some of the main points. Obviously, as you may or may not know, storage has very much changed, especially since COVID times. A lot of it's being done electronically, and as many of you in the state of Missouri know, you probably see storage facilities everywhere on the side of the road with driving in here today you see dozens of them. So we're trying to clarify statutes, especially when it comes down to a few main points on here, clarifying that the rental agreement can be delivered electronically, just via email or an e-signed document form there. That's obviously become a standard within our industry these days. A big note that we're changing is that if a storage space is being used for 30 days, a contract has been delivered to the tenant, it is on the tenant to actually it applies to their space, because as we just mentioned, you get these facilities where people will show up and just throw their stuff into the unit. We're excited because this bill is not only protecting the owners, it's also protecting the tenants, because technically if they don't sign a lease, they're just trespassing on the property and their contents can be thrown away. So that is one of the clarifications of the law there, is that the lease can go into effect for their protection. Another note is that if a tenant or if an operator sends notice to a tenant of termination or non-renewal, this is for a non-monetary default. As you may or may not know in your districts, storage facilities have become a issue when it especially comes to homeless and maybe some other unlikely characters not following the rules within the facility. Technically, as the statute stands, if you serve notice to them, they technically still have full rights for another 30 plus days. Obviously, that can be detrimental to a business and to a tenant if they're trying to stay within a facility. This gives some guidelines on how they can access and how the rules can be enforced. The requirement for advertisement will be removed. This has been an issue that we've talked about for years, is the newspaper legislation, and we have some other testimony that'll be coming. The newspapers are not, they're just not around anymore. So to one of the questions noted before, we have a series of, most operators have a series within the laws and statutes of calling, texting, emailing, and a series of letters prior to anything ever getting sold there. So there's every form of communication is going out to these tenants to take the time to actually get your contents resolved there. And also the most areas, like we have an operator in St. Joseph, Missouri, is technically, they don't even have a newspaper that has classified ads at this time. So they can't even advertise in one of the larger markets in the area for the ads, which does not help in this case. And then finally, last easy change is everything in the statute says owner right now. As you can imagine, it's just changing it to operators, as there's property management groups and different groups and other people that can run a facility. So that's just kind of shows how outdated this has been, is that it's not just owners running the facility. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate the testimony. Any questions for this witness? Hearing none. Thank you. Oh, no.
He
Senator
was
Brown.
quick. Yeah.
So you mentioned that there's a lot of different processes you have to go through prior to where you would get to that point. So is the only change that you would provide the written notice of termination, or what exactly is changing as far as the notification requirements now versus what's in
The
the bill?
only thing changing to, if somebody's in default on their contract and they're not paying their fees, the only change would be there is no stipulation to have to advertise in the newspaper.
Okay.
There still will be certified letters sent. There will still be regular mail sent. There will still be, I'm pretty sure the statute says this, but most operators are calling, texting. Our goal is not to take somebody's stuff. We don't want more stuff. we want a rentable unit that somebody's paying their bill on, and that's it. Because we lease space. That's it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? I've got one before you get off
Sure.
the hook. So when we change from owner to operator, and honestly, it's probably not that big of a deal, but can you give me examples of who then that would entail?
I can tell you this. So like my family, we run a property management group, for example. So we manage on behalf of others. So we are the operator, for example, for another storage facility owner in the state. So it would just be, it could be a property management group. It could be,
Can it be based out of anywhere?
Technically, yes. In some cases on that, it can be that. Because there are some like larger groups that could be like,
So like a foreign entity?
I don't think so. But I guess you could. In theory, I guess you could on that. A lot of times it'd be like a public storage or like an extra space storage, or one of the bigger names is managing for them, for the operator for that.
But there could be an instance where
There could
foreign
be, I guess, to your question. Yes, to your
So
question.
specifically like Chinese?
There could be.
Because they
I
can't own
guess.
ag land in this state anymore, but they can own storage facilities. What if they're next to like a military base? Is that scary?
I
It's pretty scary. That's like a national defense security kind of issue.
I,
So we might have to do, Senator, with all due respect, we may have to do some pretty significant cleanup on this
I'm willing to
before
work
I'm
with you on
willing,
that,
as the chairman
Senator
of this
Huff.
committee now, before I'm willing to move this through the process. But I appreciate your testimony. Thank you. Any other questions for the witness? No? Thank you. You are off the hook. Appreciate you giving your witness form and rubbing the microphone on your way out. Randy, welcome aboard.
it's a little tight over here. We said this.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Randy Shear representing the American Self-Storage Association.
Welcome,
And
Randy.
I would
So
say
good to
that
have you
I am
back.
really impressed with the way you're handling your committee.
First
It's the
time ever,
first time.
Sharon.
First time this day, right?
First time this session.
I'm just going to throw some numbers out at you. One of the largest online auction providers in the country had a significant number of sales in the state of Missouri, and 70% of those auctions went for less than $100. And from one of our other very large companies, probably the largest one in Missouri, they had 300 auctions in Missouri in the year they have those annually. About that, at the time of the auction, the rent due is averaging $325. The average unit sale price was between about 160 to 170, and that does not count all of the costs involved. We have a unique situation here where we have a statute that requires a private entity to do business with another private entity that provides virtually no benefit to the company because they're doing all their sales online and they're not getting any bidders through the newspaper advertising. You might hear someone say that, well, that advertisement is important to notify other family members. Most of the companies do not put the renter's name in the certified ad because it's a violation of invasion of privacy. But on the agreement that they have, the rental agreement, they are requested to put down other people that should be contacted in the event. So that's on the agreement, and that the renter has that opportunity to put that in their information. I think it was covered that this was, covered that this was an old bill or an old statute from 1985. There's some very good changes in here that are modeled after some other states that have figured out some things, and one of them is the operator issue of making sure instead of having the owner do it, the person that was running the facility is the one that would become responsible for it. So I'll try to answer any questions that you may have.
Senator Berger.
So the person in default is not listed in the newspaper, but other people are that he has written down?
Most of the members that we are aware of do not put the renter's name in the newspaper simply for invasion of privacy issues.
But they list other names?
No. No, we don't list any names.
So what does it say?
It's a certified ad or a classified ad about units being auctioned off. And if they don't, I mean, most of these are being done online. They're not done in person.
Okay, thank you.
Pardon me?
Senator Lewis.
Storage. Yes, sir.
Senator Lewis, actually female.
Senator.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. So, is it the folks that have the people to contact if they default? Is that in this bill? Is that a law that says part of the agreement?
Well, you have to have the renter's name on the agreement, but there's a place on there where they can put other people to notify in the event of.
But is that a shall? Is that in the law, or is that up to?
That's not mandatory
Not
upon
mandatory.
the individual. But
Okay.
But the operators have those contracts, and they can list the other names that they may want contacted in the event that they pass away or whatever.
Okay, so it's up to the operator to include that in the contract if they want. If they want to say
yes.
like
That's
a name of
that's
somebody.
basically the general practice now.
Okay, but it's just general practice. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for this witness? Hearing none.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next witness in support of Storage Wars. You only had two? All right. Any opposition to Senate Bill 1022? Sorry.
Good morning. I'm Chad Stebbins, Executive Director of the Missouri Press Association, representing around 200 newspapers in the state of Missouri. We do have a newspaper in every county in Missouri, so there's plenty of opportunity for notification. This bill has some fine qualities. Of course, we're opposed to the part that would remove the foreclosure notices from newspapers. You know, taking a person's property from them is pretty serious business. We believe you want to make every effort to ensure notification. You know, sometimes life gets in the way of notification. People move repeatedly. They may die. They may be in the hospital. They just may be out of pocket for whatever reason. And we have, you know, numerous examples where an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or a grandfather has seen that public notice and notified the person that they're going to be foreclosed on within 7 days. Happened to my own son. He had a storage unit, forgot that he hadn't paid the rent. He was going to be foreclosed on. There were some family heirlooms in that unit. My grandfather saw it in the Joplin Globe, notified me. My son was able to pay his bill by the end of the day and keep his possessions. It's not an invasion of privacy to run the person's name. In fact, the Missouri Chapter 415 lien laws requires that you publish the name of the occupant. There was also some misleading testimony about not having a newspaper in St. Joseph that would run these. That's not the case. So, again, this has worked for several years. Again, before you take somebody's property, I think you need to make every effort to ensure that there are as many forms of notification as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Any questions from the committee? Senator Lewis.
So, I support like updating electronic notification and all that, but your opposition, is it strictly, I don't know if you have the bill in front of you, is it just strictly to page 7 where, do you have the bill?
Yes, it's the part about removing newspaper notification. The rest of the bill is fine.
Okay.
But that one clause is a booger.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Berger.
He said there wasn't a newspaper in St. Joe, and you say there is a newspaper in St. Joe, so
Yes.
will the real newspapers please stand up?
Yeah, it's the news press.
News press, and they have classified ads
Yes, they
section?
do.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for this witness from the committee? Hearing none. Next witness in opposition?
Yes. Hi, my name is Peggy Scott. I am the publisher of 4 local newspapers in Jefferson and St. Louis counties. The Jefferson County Leader, the Arnold Imperial Leader, the West Side Leader, and the Eureka Leader. So I'm a small business owner. And our newspapers do routinely and regularly run notices about the storage units that are being sold. We work with our local storage units, or small businesses just like us. It's just very important in our view that those notices are published, because we want, as Chad said, we want people to have that information in front of them. We believe it is a protection for both the storage unit and the person whose property is at question. And we recently had, this just happened a couple of weeks ago, we had a family come to us whose family member had died, and their storage unit had been sold, and they were unaware. They were out of state, so they had not received notification. So they came to us to say, did that storage unit do what it was supposed to do? Did they publish the notification? And they had. They'd done exactly what they were supposed to do. The family, so that small business was protected from whatever might come next from that family who is not happy. They're grieving because they lost their family member. They were unaware that they had owned a storage unit. So it's just very important, in my view, that we not only maintain the notification, we might need to look at expanding the notification so that it's even broader than just in our local newspaper. They would have appreciated it being farther abroad. Any questions?
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions from the committee for this witness? Hearing none. Appreciate the testimony. Any other witnesses in opposition to Senate Bill 1022? Hearing none. Like I said, it's my first day. I'll just try it. Anybody want to testify for informational purposes only? Maybe to clarify some contradiction of other witnesses? No? Okay. Senator, any closing comments before we talk?
Well, I just want to say, Mr. Chairman, you did a great job. It's an honor to be able to present this bill in front of this committee. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
McCreery's bill is coming up next. She's the next door in the middle of an inquiry, but it will be Senate Bill 1022, or never mind, that was mine. It will be Senate Bill 991, There she is. It modifies provisions relating to interior designers. Senator McCreery, whenever you are ready. We need to. Yeah, you want to move that table up? Yeah.
Watson, give him a hand. Help out the chair. Or you could.
Yeah, by God. I can't believe it only took us, 10 minutes to figure that out, and we're government. That's pretty fast.
We've only been here for 7.5 years.
Yep. I've been wanting to do that for 8 years.
Well, good morning, Emerging Issues Committee. I'm State Senator Tracy McCreery from Senate District 24 in St. Louis County. I'm here this morning to present Senate Bill 991. What this bill would do is it would allow licensed interior designers to practice to the full extent of their training and capabilities without being overseen by an architect. I want to emphasize, and I'm going to say this probably 10 times this morning, that interior designers do not want to be architects nor engineers. Interior designers just want the ability to independently design within their existing scope of practice. I believe this legislation would lower construction costs and fees for both private and governmental entities and their clients. It would also help support small businesses, many that are predominantly women-owned. This bill is our jumping off point this session. I filed this bill now 3 years in a row, and we have been working on this bill now throughout that entire time since the 2024 public hearing. I believe that we have a Senate committee sub that we're working on right now, but we're still taking input from, people that have opinions and that kind of thing. But I do think that we'll get to a point where people will sign off on this. We've had productive dialogue since 2024, and I think eventually we'll get to a point where all parties can support this bill. Everyone that's here this morning to testify, they deeply care about public health, safety, and welfare, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but you can probably tell I have a lot of witnesses in the audience to testify as well.
Thanks, Senator. Are there any questions for Senator McCreery? Hearing none. First witness to testify in favor of the bill whenever you're ready.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Senator McCreery. Thank you for allowing me to speak today in support of Senate Bill 991. I'm Catherine Kanegi, and I'm an NCIDQ certified interior designer, and I am a registered interior designer in Missouri. I've been working in the design industry for more than 25 years, most of that time in Kansas City. And I've worked in architecture firms ranging in size from 10 people with one location to interdisciplinary firms with over 1,800 people and multiple global offices. The constant over that time has been that I've worked collaboratively alongside interior designers, architects, various engineering partners, and contractors. I'm asking for your support of this bill because interior design in its current form is a young profession, and compared with others in the design industry, it is can be misunderstood and continues to evolve. This legislation will give credibility to what interior designers do. It provides a framework to educate others about what they do not do. And it allows interior designers to build trust within the consumer market, that they are educated, experienced, and tested to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the public. It will do all of these things not just in Missouri, but also across the country. Interior design is a unique discipline with a unique scope of work, and much like architecture and our other design partners that have very unique and specific scopes of work as well. Also, like those disciplines, there can be overlaps in practice. But just as an architect recognizes when they're not qualified to design the structural system of a building, an NCIDQ certified interior designer recognizes what is outside of their scope of work. This reasonable regulation would further protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public by allowing interior designers to take responsibility and be held accountable for their own work. Over the last 3 years, as part of the Consortium of Interior Design for Missouri, along with my counterparts and predecessors, we've had many collaborative conversations, as the Senator pointed out, with our design partners in the state in order to refine the language and address concerns, and also to ensure consistency for interior designers who, should they choose to practice as licensed professionals in Missouri, would gain the ability to stamp and seal their own work for non-structural and non-load-bearing interior design projects. So more simply put, opposition of this bill results in the fundamental limitation of an NCIDQ certified interior designer's ability to practice to the fullest extent of their profession in Missouri. It will result in interior design graduates from any of our 4 accredited interior design programs in the state who are at the start of their careers, potentially leaving the state for opportunities elsewhere. It will limit the number of experienced NCIDQ certified designer professionals who might potentially relocate to Missouri because their ability to practice through reciprocity would be severely limited. It also will discourage NCIDQ certified interior designers from opening their own businesses in Missouri because they would not be able to practice their profession to the full extent of their capabilities without hiring an architect to stamp and seal drawings. Thank you again for your time today and for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you for your testimony. Any other questions for this witness? Hearing none. Next witness to testify in favor of the bill whenever you're ready.
Hi. To the chair. Okay. Good morning, Chair and member of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Amani Vaughn. I'm from Eastern Jackson County, and I'm a junior interior design student at the University of Central Missouri, which is accredited by the Council for Interior Design Accreditation. I'm here in support of State Bill 991, with provisions for licensed interior designers in Missouri to have the authority to stamp and seal their own drawings. This is not about expanding beyond our scope of practice. It is about allowing licensed interior designers to take responsibility for work we have already trained to perform through accredited education, tested through the NCIDQ, and legally permitted to practice once registered. My interior design coursework includes many courses that relate to health, safety, and welfare of the public. In building systems, we study fire-rated assemblies. My material class surveyed a broad range of sustainable materials, material safety and testing, and maintenance and fire safety. Our environmental systems course focuses on the health, safety, and welfare of occupants through appropriate lighting, indoor air quality, thermal comfort, and acoustics. Additionally, our codes coursework provides detailed instruction in the International Building Code and ADA standards, including fire safety, emergency egress, and accessibility requirements. In my senior year, I will be learning about and applying my skills to construction documents, which I do understand to be legally binding documents. All of our classes culminate in a comprehensive evidence-based design research and interior design project. This is a year-long project where we apply the findings of environmental and behavioral research to a hypothetical interior scenario. In this project, we execute the full pre-design research process, including the site analysis and local building codes adoptions, and demonstrate how these factors directly inform and impact the final design solution. Growing up, I watched both of my parents earn advanced degrees, pass required licensure exams, and then be trusted to fully take responsibility for their professional work. That model of education, testing, experience, and accountability shape how I understand professional ethics and responsibility. Because of this, I want interior designers to be recognized the same way my parents have in their profession. Recognizing that my education has been supported by Missouri taxpayers, if I one day choose to own a firm and give back to my community here in Missouri, I would like the opportunity to do so. Without this recognition, others like me may be forced to take our education and contributions elsewhere. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions for this witness? Senator Lewis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Have you come before and testified?
No.
First time? Well, you did wonderful. Thank you so much. And, good luck with the rest of your education.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to, I really liked your testimony, and I just wanted to share. I've heard this bill several times over the years, and I've had some real world experience. Recently did a kitchen remodel where I worked hand in hand with an architect and a designer, and I like to think of it as like kind of my experience as a healthcare team. We all work together to help the client, and we know our lane. You said this isn't a change of scope of practice, just to allow the interior designers to work to the full scope of their practice. And based on my experience of working this in the real world, I was hand in hand working with my designer that was doing everything, like all the daily stuff and everything. So anyway, thank you for your testimony, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, Senator Brown?
So you kind of touched on this towards the end, but as a student, do you, in just conversations with other students in this field, is there much talk about people that might be heading to other states where they might be able to practice more fully to the scope of their training?
We did have a student recently who testified last time talking about how she would, in fact, move to a different state if this wasn't passed. And I have been having conversations with different students about how this can impact our future when it comes to practicing on our own.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the witness? All right, hearing none, thank you for your testimony. You did a great job. Any other witnesses testify in favor of this bill? Whenever you're ready, please come forward.
Hi.
Oh, make sure you leave a witness form if you want your testimony to be placed in public record. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Brown and committee members. My name is Carrie Schutte. I'm the owner and founder of Vell Studio, a commercial interior design firm which specializes in military, healthcare, education, corporate, and financial facilities. I've been practicing interior design for 28 years. I have a staff of 6 talented, detail-oriented individuals who care very much about the way people live, work, play, eat, heal, recover in the built environment. This means that I care about you and your experiences when you're going through a space. I care about your productivity, your processes, your health, safety, and welfare. So what is design? We can look at design in this space. Nearly everything that you see in this space is a design decision. Look at the floor. You might not care about technical terms like slip resistance or coefficients of friction or zippering. But interior designers do care because we want to be certain that the floor is safe for you and your family and friends. We care about building owners, and we specify appropriate materials to reduce the likelihood of slips, trips, falls, and costly lawsuits. So, Chairman Brown, you just experienced a design flaw in this meeting. You had to move the table.
Trust me, there's a lot of flaws in
We can help you.
design. We'll start there.
But really, if you look at that, it is a hazard. If we all had to run out of this room because something was on fire, these chairs are very close together. The tables, you were sitting in the audience, essentially. There could be trips or falls if there was a panic. So yes, we very much do care about health, safety, and welfare. Look at the lights above you. Is there a flicker or a buzz or a hum that causes you stress? Have you ever been in a room like that? Headaches may be a distraction you didn't even realize was there. Is it too bright for you? Or is it too dark for you to see the print on your paper? Have you ever been in that restaurant where you had to take a photo of the menu because you couldn't see? Look at the corridor. A designer, a decent designer, can tell you a minimum corridor width is 44 inches. A good designer can tell you that 48 inches is a tight corridor. A really good designer could say a 60-inch corridor width allows 2 wheelchairs to pass each other. And a healthcare designer could tell you that a 96-inch corridor allows 2 beds to pass each other without bumping into each other. A registered or licensed interior designer is tested and required to understand space planning, ADA, building codes, and appropriate clearances. A joint study was released by NCARB, the testing body for architecture, and NCIDQ, the testing body for interior designers. This happened in 2021. The subject matter experts for both of these groups reviewed the other's certification test and educational requirements. The study revealed significant overlap between the 2 professions, 77% for one group and 80% for the other group. Overlap in what we learn and what we're tested to do in studying the codes and understanding how to detail a space, to do the drawings, to do the elevations, to do section cuts and detail furniture and casework. So the differences are pretty important as well, if not more important than the similarities. Because while architects are more broadly focused on the building site, zoning, neighborhood, context, and the exterior envelope, the interior designers are more focused on the interior design in their studies and testing. They're more focused on the human experience, including interior spatial organization, that distance between the desk and the audience, or even the distance between the desk and all of you so that we could see you. We're more concerned about including ergonomics and universal design, sensory considerations, interior materials, finishes, planning, and specification. Not very many architects go to the lunch and learns where we're hearing about the new technologies in interior finishes and surfaces. I love it, what I do, and as Tracy said earlier, I don't want to be an architect or an engineer. I'm smart enough to know when I need to call a friend, and I frequently partner with other disciplines. Some of these architects are my best friends in the world. I especially appreciate those who provide an excellently designed shell and a carefully designed site and a sensible column grid with a well-located core, egress system, and a roof that doesn't leak. There are registered architects who don't sign and seal their drawings. The same will be the case when interior designers are able to sign and seal their drawings. Not everyone will do that. Those of us who have risen to the top of our field and own our own businesses should be allowed to practice our profession just as architects and engineers are able to practice theirs. If a code reviewer identifies an issue with our plans, concerns can be raised with the designer of record in the same way they would be raised with an architect. 17 states have already passed legislation to allow designers to sign and seal drawings without these limitations. If we have the education, experience, certifications, registration, and the guts to put our work into the world, we should be able to own it, put our name on it, and take credit. We just want to take responsibility for our own work. We are currently the only people sitting at the table of a project table who are not licensed professionals. This bill will expand opportunities for interior designers to rise through the ranks professionally and encourage the expansion of small business ownership by designers. We currently maintain the same expenses as a small architecture firm. We have staff payroll, we have rent for our space, we have utilities, we have the same high-powered computers to run the same very expensive software programs to do the same work. We must even carry the same insurance for errors and omissions to work on complex projects, though we will never ever have a claim because it's not our sign and seal on the drawings. It's not even our title block on the drawings. No one knows our name. Please help us remove these barriers to practice our profession. And just as an added personal note, I just lost one of my best designers because she could go to an architecture firm and get better benefits. That's terrible. She loved working with us, and she's a great designer. So our firm should not be financially and professionally handicapped or forced to pay another trade to review our specialty. I ask you to see myself and my colleagues as your advocates in the built environment. I ask you to see us as the professionals we are, and I ask you to pass SB 991 to allow interior designers to own our work with our signature and seal. So please support us today. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions for this witness? Senator Huff.
Thank
Yes.
you. And I appreciate you mentioning, because I figured one of the witnesses would say how many other states have done something similar to this. You said there's 17 other states. Largely the same scope of this legislation? Or
Yes.
maybe
Yes.
Okay.
So 31 areas, so 29 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico have passed legislation of some sort for interior designers to practice. 17 states actually allow signing and sealing privileges, and Illinois is one of those. So when you talk to Amani about people leaving the state to go somewhere else, people can go across the river and practice and actually move up through their profession.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
What licensing board would be like regulating this in your license, or would you have to create a board?
So right now, there's the Interior Design Council, but if this is passed, it would fall under the Applesauce Board, which is architects, professional engineers, land surveyors, and landscape architects. And now we would be the Applesauce Lids, with adding licensed interior designers to the end of that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use Illinois as an example, because if they want to go across the river, let them go. Senator Huff.
All righty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think in this, I noticed you're adding, or I think you seek to add maybe 2 representatives from this profession to then that board.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that is
Are those
correct.
paid positions? Do you know? They're not?
No.
Do you think they should be? Really?
Hey, I would love it, but
I don't know. I mean, some of our boards and commissions are paid. Yeah. Well, if we knew somebody on the appropriations committee, maybe we could make these paid positions.
I would support that.
That's what I'm thinking.
certainly.
I'll support that.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the witness? All right, thank you for your testimony. Any other witnesses testify in favor of the bill? Are there any witnesses to testify in opposition? Whenever you're ready. Did you leave a witness form? Yeah. I just want to make sure that anybody's testifying to leave a witness form so we can get your testimony in the public record.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, on behalf of the Missouri Society of Professional Engineers, thank you for the opportunity to offer remarks regarding Senate Bill 991. My name is Annika Carriaga. I graduated from Missouri S&T in 1998. I'm a professional engineer in 7 states.
I'm from Rolla.
Oh, yes. Go
I went to
Miners.
S&T too.
It was really Rolla back then, to date myself. I'm the immediate past president of the Missouri Society of Professional Engineers and chair of the Government Relations Committee. The Missouri Society of Professional Engineers, MSPE, represents licensed professional engineers across the state. Since 1937, MSPE has worked to protect the licensure process and champion the ethical and competent practice of engineering. With the utmost respect to the committee and the bill sponsor, MSPE opposes Senate Bill 991 as it pertains to the statewide licensure of interior designers in its current form. MSPE appreciates the opportunities we have had to provide input on the legislation when it was considered in prior sessions. We thank the bill's proponents for their continued engagement and the collaborative approach taken to address concerns that were previously raised by the engineering community and their stakeholders. These efforts are meaningful and reflect a shared commitment to improving the laws governing licensed design professionals in Missouri. While we recognize these efforts, MSPE continues to be concerned with key provisions of Senate Bill 991 and in the corresponding House Bill 2353. As drafted, this language raises the potential for unintended overlap with professional engineering and architectural responsibilities, particularly related to the scope of practice language contained in Section 327.710. It's on pages 36 and 37 of the legislation, stating that licensed interior designers shall be in responsible charge of all interior design of buildings that can affect the health, safety, and welfare of the public within their scope of work. Interior designers would be required for all commercial and government buildings the way this is written. However, to the best of my knowledge, there are no requirements in current building codes that call for the services of an interior designer in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public, except for those that are already governed by the long-established practices of professional engineers and architects. Without a clear connection between well-established national building code requirements that protect building occupants and the delivery of interior design services, MSPE is concerned that the proposed legislation would blur long-standing professional boundaries in areas of professional practice where Missouri law requires accredited education, examination, experience, and accountability associated with professional licensure. We respectfully urge the committee to give us another opportunity to work with stakeholders to clarify and improve the scope of practice language to address our concerns. We remain committed to constructive collaboration and stand ready to assist the committee and the sponsor in developing the language that both supports the design and construction community and upholds Missouri's well-established public safety standards.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there any questions for this witness that so happens to be alumni of the greatest engineering school in the universe? Senator Huff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned that you appreciated the bill sponsor and I think the association of the group having worked with you in the past. So there have been concessions made through the last several years. I guess my real question is, are you still actively working with the bill sponsor, all the folks that are here took time out of their days to come up here and present this bill and support this bill, or have those conversations ceased?
No, we're still in communication, and also we are part of the Missouri Design Alliance, which includes the architects, engineers, surveyors, landscape architects. We've also been working with the Missouri Board, and the Missouri Board has been giving comments. Unfortunately, the draft that they had reviewed and commented on from August of 2025, and we thought several of the revisions had been made. Unfortunately, the bill version that was filed is the August 2025 draft that did not have all of the changes in it that the Missouri Board had recommended. And so we still want to actively work on this. We just do not at this point want to have this version of the bill pass this hearing until we can work more on the substitute.
Do you have a timeline on working with the bill sponsor? Because here's my experience in this building. Oftentimes, parties that are interested in supporting or opposing legislation don't really find the need to negotiate much or really collaborate until they see something moving. Until they see, and we do, I think there was a disclaimer on one of the votes earlier today saying, appreciate some bill that's worked on a committee sub and appreciate the people coming together. It's not perfect yet, but oftentimes a little bit of public pressure, no offense, is a good thing to get these things moving. I mean, sometimes, Senator, when we're on the floor, I'll tell you lots of really long, boring stories that people will get a kick out of about legislation that, had kind of languished for, a decade until you start pushing it. And then you actually bring, and in that example, it was the architects who thought if we did something, they were all going to go out of business. As it turns out, it really worked out well for them. Who knew, right? So all I'm saying is, I don't want, for our apparently dwindling committee here, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if that says something about your, oh yeah, well, I guess we got three. I wouldn't want the committee, and I appreciate your testimony, I wouldn't want the committee to think, well, we've got one group, one association that says we're not really loving where this thing is right now, so let's tap the brakes. I always say there's 1,000 ways to kill a bill in this building, and there's only one way to pass it. So I would implore you and your association to work with the bill sponsor, work with the interested folks here, and try to come up with something that everybody can live with and be happy with. So,
Well, and part of what triggered this is I also have a copy of the substitute from the House bill, and when we were trying to fix...
so don't worry about the House.
Well,
I'll just tell you right
Okay.
now.
When we were trying to fix
give
one...
zero thought whatsoever to our friends.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Well, one version of trying to fix what was in here caused an inadvertent problem in that. And so that's what we were just trying to make sure that
Did
we
you say?
take care
Did
of
you
that
say on
stuff.
record that the House caused a problem?
Maybe.
That's kind of what I heard. Yep, of course. Senator?
So one of the challenges with this bill and a lot of bills that we deal with in this building is the difference between how the House drafts a bill and the Senate drafts a bill. We can come at them with the exact same request, and it's just a different style thing. So I think one of the misunderstandings is there appears to be a mismatch between the House and the Senate version because of the way they're drafted. So, and I think there's a path forward on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're very welcome. So, what in this legislation, and I can, I'll let you answer this when I ask you the question. But what are you really worried about? Are you worried about like these interior designers like messing with like the structural integrity of a building, or?
What I'm worried
Because when I
about-
think of interior design, I think of just like one of the witnesses, like paint, carpet, things like that. I can understand that if you're an engineer architect and you're stamping one of these blueprints that they remove a wall, yes, that's a problem. Or add one. If it takes away from the integrity of the structure, I get that. But is that an issue that you all are worried? What are you worried about?
My bigger concern is if you say they have responsible charge of all interior, that means I now, as an engineer, have to get an interior designer for my pump station, my landfill scale house, my warehouse, areas that wouldn't have needed an architect. But if they have responsible charge of all interior, we didn't say the landscape architect got responsible charge of the entire
If it's
outdoors.
engineered plans.
Right. There are projects that we don't necessarily need an architect for or an interior designer for. If
I agree
a
with that.
project chooses to have that and that added cost, that's fine. But I don't want to inadvertently, we now as an engineering firm have to hire an interior designer for my landfill scale house. Or the inside of a factory that's not necessarily,
Or
or a
storage
warehouse, a
facilities,
storage
just like the
facility.
storage word,
That
yeah.
word all, to
Yeah.
where I just don't, that is our biggest concern, is that we don't want to add costs to building in Missouri by now requiring an interior
Well, I think
designer
that's
for all
something you might be
interior
able to work maybe with the bill sponsor on to clarify that,
Yeah.
because I don't disagree with you on that. I guess there's not any other questions unless you have another question.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony. Are there any other witnesses testify in opposition to this bill? For informational purposes only, which means you're against it. You just don't want to admit it.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Jeff Crowley. I'm with the American Institute of Architects Missouri chapter, AIA Missouri. I have been working with Senator McCreery and the Interior Design Coalition on this for quite some time. The AIA wanted to make sure that we represented ourselves in this meeting, and for informational purposes only, just to explain that currently we are looking at this as we are neutral. There has been a very good progress on this bill. We had 17 different items less than a year ago, and we have been working through them. And from the board standpoint, the licensing board, which I kind of have to represent because I can't sit here, there's only one more item. That's it. We're down to one item. So we are not opposed to this bill. We have worked with the Interior Design Coalition to try and help get this bill put out there for a vote, and helped with a lot of the language. But we do believe that this one official item that it needs to be worked through can be resolved between the board and the coalition. And so we just want to make sure that you were aware that the architects are not opposed at this point, but we're also not voting for, because I do represent 2,000 architects that live in Missouri and 5,000 licensed architects in the state of Missouri. So you can imagine I get calls from both sides.
Well, I appreciate you working on that, and I appreciate your testimony. Senator Huff, do you have any questions? All right. Thank you for your testimony. Are there any other witnesses testify for informational purposes only? Department guys.
I know. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Senator Huff. Good morning, Senator McCreery. Did not expect to testify today. West Sutton, Division of Professional Registration, Deputy Director. Just wanted to go on record having both the architect, professional engineer, professional land surveyor, and professional landscape architect board, as well as the Interior Design Council. Just want to go on record that as a division, we are completely neutral on this, but parties have reached out to us to help make sure that all the changes that folks are looking for get integrated in. Just wanted to kind of make sure from a board standpoint, there's no board here testifying on either side of this bill.
Thank you for your testimony. Senator Huff. No questions. Any other witnesses testify for informational purposes only? Seeing none, Senator McCreery, do you have any closing comments?
Just want to say thank you for hearing the bill, and you have my commitment that I'm going to try to continue to work on things and also figure out what that one item is and address it with
All right.
vigor.
Thank you.
Yep,
With
thank
no
you.
further business come before the committee, I move to adjourn. Do I have a second? We have a second. We're adjourned.